Hey friends, this is Wendy. Thanks so much for being here today. I have got my hands on this super, ha ha ha, no pun intended, cute die set that makes a soup can or it can make a medicine bottle. And then there's this coordinating stamp set that's super cute as well. And I just love this. So we're going to make a Campbell's soup can, basically, is what I'm going for here. I started by cutting all of my parts and pieces in white, and I used Nina's Solar White, and then I'm using my Copic markers to do my coloring. I started with C5, C3, and C1 on the lid there, and then I'm going to do just C5 across this piece here. And I am using the photo from the layering guide so that I kind of know what all goes where. And then I'm going to use my favorite red combo here. This is R59, R29, R35, and R32. And I'm just going to go in and put lots of layers of color down so that everything blends together nicely. And I'm going to do this for the top and the bottom. Then we're going to have some strips that go kind of in the middle, and we're going to go through and make those different colors as well. And you'll see that as we do it here. So for this little strip that's going to go just underneath of the top, I'm going to do black. And as you see me put all these pieces and parts together, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. For this one, I stuck with a solid R59. I didn't add any shading because I wanted it to be a little bit darker all the way across. I could have added some darker shading on the edges, but I really didn't feel like it was necessary. All of this comes together very, very nicely. Then this is the bottom, so I went ahead and colored it the same as the top with that highlight in the middle and the shadows on the sides. And then I did have to go over it a couple of times. When you're coloring a larger image, sometimes you have to go over with your ink a few times to really get that nice blend. Otherwise, it can stay looking a little rough, if you'll know what I mean. So here I've got my pieces all colored in. And then I'm going to color the spoon. I started with the C5 at the bottom of the spoon. Then I'm going to go to a C3 and then a C1. I'm making the spoon lighter at the top and darker on the bottom. And I do apologize for the light flashing there. There were clouds and I film by sunlight. And so sometimes this happens when I am filming. So here, I'm going to add a little highlight piece to the bottom of the spoon. That's going to be lighter than the top. And then we're going to fold the base piece in half and go ahead and layer all these pieces on. I'm just kind of getting an idea of where everything goes here at first so that I can glue everything down. I quickly realize I'm missing a piece, and so I die cut this base piece, which we very much did need. So I'm glad that I cut that. And then that allows you to really layer things nicely according to the base piece. So I highly recommend cutting that, and then that will help you guide you on where to layer everything. Here, this little black strip is going to go under the red. And then we are going to go to the bottom of this layering piece and go from the bottom up. I suggest doing that because it'd be really, really hard to figure out where to place everything else without doing it this way. So I'm going to go on the bottom here. And I do want to just make mention that you need to leave a little gap at the bottom because you're going to add this little silver piece here. That's the bottom ring around the bottom of the can. Also, I am aware that chicken noodle soup cans don't have red on the bottom. They're actually just red on the top and then white all the way down. But I really wanted to add more color and have it be fun. And it's a card. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? This is handmade, not Hallmark. So I can do whatever I want. I can make my colors and cans look however I want them to look. So here I'm just adding the little spoon on the front, which is so stinking cute. And then I'm going to layer this entire piece onto the card base. But first I decided that that white center needed just a little bit of shading on the sides. So I went in with a C3 and a C1 to add just a little bit of shading. And then I'm going to go in with my C5 and add some shading under the spoon. And you'll see that this really makes the spoon pop and kind of come up off that can almost, which I think looks really cool. So we're just going to add that, and as it sits there and you look at it again, you'll see that it really adds a lot of dimension. I've never not found adding shading to not be successful. That was a complicated way of saying shade. Use your shading. It works wonders. So here we're going to add the little top of the can, and then I'm going to add the little rim over the top of the red. I debated whether I wanted to nestle the little rim piece in between the lid and the can, but I ultimately decided that popping this piece up over the top of the red, right at the edge of the lid, gave it this more dimension and really looked cool. So the next step is I'm going to stamp this little chicken head that comes in the stamp set that coordinates with this die. And I'm going to color these images gold because, well, that's how they look on the can themselves. So I went with a Y18 to color this little gold medallion. And you really wouldn't have to even add the little chicken head if you didn't want to. You could just leave it like this, especially if you were going to decide to use some of the sentiments or die cuts over the top of anything. You wouldn't need to add this little chicken head, but I really wanted to add it because I thought it was super cute and kind of lends the little innuendo that this is a chicken noodle soup can. So I'm going to just add my glue and then glue this in place. And then we're going to add the sentiments. So I'm going to show you a little trick for the sentiment. I don't know if this was intended or not, but it's the way I'm doing it. And I hope it works for you too. So if you notice, all of these sentiments have a curve in them. So what I did is I die cut the super, and I went ahead and die cut both of them in white, and then for the black layer, I used my black Copic marker, my 100 marker, to color the letters that layer in black. You wouldn't have to do this. You could just die cut this out of black cardstock, but I really didn't feel like getting up and getting black cardstock out. So I just went ahead and colored it with my markers. And then after I get this laid down, I'm going to, get it in there, Wendy. Get it all laid down. Once I get all this laid down, I'm going to do my sentiment, my stamped sentiment, and it's going to go at the top. So as I do that, I'm going to chat with you just really quick about some ideas for this set. This one obviously says, I think you're super. So I think it would be really cute to give this to like a college kid. My mind is in that space because I have a kid that's almost graduating high school. She'll graduate next year. And so we're deep in the middle of all the college things. So I think it would be really cute to send a little care package with this and maybe like some soups or a gift card to like Panera or somewhere like that inside of it. Then the other idea I had is obviously if somebody wasn't feeling well, you could use the sentiments that coordinate with not feeling well, and you could make a whole basket of like chicken noodle soup. In my case, maybe I would actually make them homemade chicken noodle soup, put it in a really pretty mason jar with a bow on it, and then maybe add a fresh loaf of fresh baked sourdough bread. I think that would be such a lovely gift to give somebody. So these are definitely dies that you could use for lots of different things. And there's even a birthday sentiment, so that would work too. It says, hope you have a, and then it would be super birthday. So that would be an option. So this die here that I cut and stamped on is just the same die that we used earlier, lower on the can. And I just die cut it again, added some shading and stamped on it. So I really love how this turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have any questions, you can always drop them in the comments below. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.